Okay, I want to do this as quick as I possibly can. Now, as we all know by now, Bandai is not going to be doing anything new. We know that now. And as with any kind of situation like this where an anime company has announced it's in trouble or is going down or in this case restructuring as for now, the voice actors have been vocal, trying to urge fans, please stop pirating. This is what the industry is headed for. Because if you don't buy, more companies are going to go out of business and going to stop producing stuff for you. But, as always, it's all thrown right back at them. Backlash against these voice actors. Why are they accusing fans of stealing? Well, one, they're accusing fans of stealing because some fans are. And even Kyle Hebert. I respect Kyle Hebert and people like Stephanie Shea who are really, really trying to fight this thing and trying to show people that what they think is not hurting the business is. And they're trying to tell people, look, regardless of what you think you're doing to help the business, even if that's just a cop-out and you say, oh, well, I'm helping the business, even if you really aren't trying to, you're not helping. And even if you're intentionally trying to help by uploading episodes online, you're not helping. Because uploading entire episodes or entire seasons of shows is not promoting the show. I mean, regardless, you could do so much more. Even just clips of certain episodes, a summary, talk about the show, even show I don't know what you call it, screenshots from the show. That is not the same as giving the whole show to people for free and then complaining later when nobody buys it because you've given it to them for free and they don't have to buy it now. Now, one guy even told Kyle, because Kyle said, I've been to going to conventions for years, and at these conventions, people freely admit they don't buy their anime, they download it. I can testify to that because at the first convention I ever went to, Greg Ayers held one of his awareness panels about this stuff, and he asked people, those of you who download, give me your reasons for downloading against, and not buying, and I'll give you a response that renders your reason pointless and worthless. And you need proof that they're pirates? People were raising their hands saying, well, I don't want to buy it before I know if I'd like it or not. Or, I can't afford it. And there were others, but that was like 4 years ago. But I remember those two specifically. And or I remember I think somebody did actually mention the watching a show that otherwise wouldn't be popular over here, in hopes of helping the popularity get up and therefore creating a dub over here. But stuff like that, it's all, it doesn't matter. If you can't afford something, you really ought to not be watching it online for free anyway. But if you do, plan to buy it later. If you watched a Dragon Ball Z movie, plan to buy it later if you get some money. Always plan. If you're going to watch something before you can afford to buy it, plan to get it later. That way it doesn't matter if you watch it online or not. You have the legal copy that you could also watch at any time. Therefore, it really doesn't matter that you watch it online because you've contributed your part. You've paid for that content. But there's several false statements about some of the stuff, such as if uploading these shows online promotes the series, if done right. But you can't trust all the people who watch this to go buy the show, because if just one person decides not to go buy it, it's hurt the business. It's denied them revenue that they are rightfully owed. this is fairly simple stuff, people, but people are twisting fandom into something that it's not supposed to be. Some people think that fandom is having as many shows as possible, and that's not true. Fandom is supporting something and helping to make sure that what it is that you support grows and thrives because the fan base cares about it. You can have the fact is, you could have a show that has the biggest fan base. It has millions of people say they love this show. But if nobody buys the show and contributes money back to the people who produced it, it's a failure. That is the point that the voice actors are trying to make. It doesn't matter how supposedly many fans the show has, it's got to produce money or it'll get canceled. And eventually, like Kyle and several other voice actors are saying, if the business keeps heading in the shape it's in and keeps going downhill, it's going to be soon too costly to produce any kind of animated series. And businesses altogether will decide that animation is not worth the time and effort, and it will be gone. And some people doubt that, but it's just clear business. If something doesn't sell, they're not going to produce it anymore, because they can't make up the debt that was incurred from making it, because sales from this stuff pays itself off. And the pure profit that comes out after you've taken out your cost, that the money left over, the extra money, the real true profit, can then be used back in the company to bring you more series, to bring you a second season, to bring you more merchandise. But if companies are just barely getting by, they can't expand, they can't do better, because we're not supporting them. Support goes further than just saying, I like this show. You have to support it in some kind of way. Say you like a certain band, and you love their music. You have to, if you really want to be considered a fan, you've got to buy this stuff. A fan means you have being a fan of something means you greatly appreciate it. I mean, a comparison. I'll use myself. I'm a huge fan of the wrestler Chris Jericho. I own his DVD. I own both of his books, and I've bought a few of his band songs on iTunes. Now, one of the songs in particular, I heard online first on YouTube, where somebody uploaded it. But I went and bought it. See, I'm not the kind of guy who goes and watches or listens to everything first, and if I like it, I'll buy it. I'd rather have the joy of owning it. I mean, and that's what supposedly fandom is. That's what fandom is. It's taking money that you have and giving it back to people who provide this entertainment for you as a token of appreciation. And you can sit there and say, they're greedy. No, they're not. These people are trying to make a living. These people's main focus is to make money. They also want you to enjoy what they give you, but they've got to make money. The actors, they depend on their pay to be able to eat and pay for gas and bills and all kinds of stuff. We've got to do our part. Like I'm saying, we can't do anything about what these businesses do business-wise. That's up to them. And what they do affects them, and we have no, they can't blame us for poor business choices. But as long as there are pirates out there, they can blame the fan base. That is the issue. If people stop pirating anime, they'll stop complaining to us. But the fact is, until it stops, it will always, to some extent, be our fault. Even if it's not the main reason a business goes under, it still helped it, and we are still to blame. Because you never know how big of a difference it made. Was it a small difference? Who knows? Let's say the business, let's say a business said, we have to make $1,000 pure profit or we're going to close. But let's say bad business decisions cost them a lot of money, so they hit. Let's say they hit their 1,000, but then they go back and recoup, say, a $200 worth of losses due to pirating. Let's say DVDs $20 a piece, and you got 10 people chose to, and just 10 people decided, I can get it for free off of this random website. I'm not going to pay. But they lost $200. They're below their goal. They go out of business. They decide to shut down. It's not worth it. This is what the actors are warning fans about, us. We can control the piracy. We can't control anything beyond that, but we can control the piracy. That's what they want you to know. And you can believe it or not, whether or not anime will die here, but it'll thrive in Japan. That's not true. The dub industry and the original Japanese industry are not two separate industries. It's one industry, just different branches. What happens to one will affect the other. So get that thought out of your head, that one can live and it won't affect the other. I don't know. I want to say all this stuff, but I don't want this video to be an hour long. But if anybody is watching this and wants to argue a point towards it, fine. I'll answer any comment that you post. Or if you feel like you should challenge this that I've give you, I'm happy to accept a challenge from as far as that goes. If you think that pirating is a good idea, even though in business terms it makes absolutely no sense, because pirating is stealing, and stealing in the thought of, and you're basically saying, if piracy helps anime, you're saying that stealing causes profit. Stealing results in profit. No sense at all. So, just remember that. So if anybody has, if you have an objection to what I said, state it. I will gladly answer it with a proper response. But I'm not going to give too far into this, because piracy's got to stop. All the hardcore, I'm not even going to say fans, all the hardcore pirates who refuse to buy their shows because they don't think they have to, you're killing the industry. That's just blunt, isn't it? You're killing the industry. So, what you do is your choice. You can, as I've heard people saying before, you're either part of the solution or part of the problem. If you want to be part of the problem, that's your choice. But just know, you are part of the problem. You are killing the anime industry. But if we can get people to stop pirating, we can save anime. It may not be like it once was, but it'll still be here. Because if we don't, it will go away. So, think about that. And like I said, comment away. But anime fans, we got to do something.